New footage from Cardi B's trial just went viral.
Yesterday you had black hair, short hair. Today it's blonde and long. Which one is your real hair? Or are they both real?
They're wigs.
Okay, sorry, I didn't know that.
It started with Cardi clowning Imani Ellis's attorney, but it quickly turned serious after Imani's shocking revelations. Now Cardi could be facing life. Here's the full story. When keeping it real goes to court. This is some next-level courtroom chaos that got the whole internet losing their minds. We're talking about Belcalis Marlenis Almanza. That's Cardi's government name for those who ain't know. Standing up in a Los Angeles courtroom getting grilled like she's on trial for her life. But hold up, before we get into all the viral madness that got everybody making memes and reaction videos, we need to break down how this whole situation really popped off. This ain't just some petty beef that started on Instagram. This is some serious legal business that's been brewing in these streets for damn near 7 years, with allegations that could have had Cardi paying out millions and potentially ending her whole career trajectory. The real tea starts back in February 2018, when Cardi was about 4 months pregnant with baby Culture. Now y'all remember, this was before she announced she was carrying, so she was moving real low-key, trying to keep her business private while she handled her prenatal visits. She rolled up to this fancy OBGYN office in Beverly Hills. You know how these celebrities do. They got to get that boutique medical treatment and all that. But here's where things get spicy. The whole situation was supposed to be on the hush-hush because Cardi hadn't told the world she was expecting yet. So when she stepped into that building, she was probably thinking she could slide in and out without nobody being on her bumper about it. But sometimes the universe got other plans, you feel me? Now enter Imani Ellis, a 32-year-old security guard who'd been holding it down at that medical building for about 4 years.
For the record, how old are you?
32.
And on the date of February 24th, 2018, what were you doing?
I was at work on duty as a security guard.
Ellis was doing her regular rounds, minding her business, when she peeped Cardi stepping off the elevator on the 5th floor. Now, according to Ellis, and she said this with tears in her eyes while she was on the witness stand, she was a fan of Cardi's music and just got excited seeing her idol in the flesh. But what Ellis thought was just some innocent fan appreciation. Cardi's legal squad is painting as straight-up harassment and invasion of privacy. The allegations that came out of Ellis's mouth in that courtroom had people's jaws on the floor, and not in a good way.
So, if you could just tell us in your own words, when you got to the 5th floor, you were doing your rounds, and you saw Cardi B, what did you say?
I said something along the lines of, "That looks like Cardi B," or "Wow, that's Cardi B."
Sounds innocent enough, right? But according to Ellis, what happened next was like something straight out of a hood nightmare. She claims Cardi B flipped the switch real quick and got all the way hostile with her.
When she put her finger in your face, did she have long fingers?
She did.
And approximately how long were her fingernails on the date when she put them in your face?
About 2 to 3 inches long.
Ellis painted a picture of Cardi B getting all up in her personal space with some serious nail game. We're talking about claws that could do damage, you feel me? But the story gets even crazier from there.
What were the words that she used that were so hurtful?
She used a lot of words, and again, excuse my language, but she was like, I'm gonna beat you, I'm gonna get you fired. That's why you do security. That's why you do security. She was sticking her tongue out. She was flailing her arms up and down. She was jumping up and down, body shaming me. I mean, racial slurs, just a lot.
Now hold up, Ellis is claiming Cardi B was really going off, talking about beating her down, getting her fired from her job, and throwing around racial slurs while acting a whole fool. That's some serious allegations right there, the type of stuff that can ruin somebody's whole reputation and bag. But wait, it gets worse. Ellis is saying the beef went from verbal to physical real quick. Spitting on somebody?
Did she spit on you?
She did.
Did her spit actually land on your body?
It did.
That's straight disrespectful, and in many states, that's considered assault right there. But Ellis claims it didn't stop with the disrespect. She says Cardi B put hands on her too. According to Ellis, those long nails Cardi was rocking left her with scratches on her face that were so bad, she had to get plastic surgery years later. We're talking about medical bills that hit $17,500, and Ellis had to pay that on a payment plan that depended on winning this whole lawsuit. The whole situation allegedly left Ellis messed up mentally too. She's talking about having anxiety, depression, PTSD, and insomnia for years after this went down. That's the kind of trauma that can really mess with somebody's life and their ability to make money and take care of their family. Now, Ellis was also claiming that Cardi B used her celebrity status to get her fired from her security gig, but she ended up backing down from that claim during the trial, admitting her termination was really about violating HIPAA rules. Basically, she got fired for announcing that Cardi was in the building when she should have kept that information private. The money Ellis is trying to get from this lawsuit ain't no joke either. She's not just asking for her medical bills. She wants compensation for lost wages, punitive damages, that's extra money to punish Cardi for her alleged behavior, and a $25,000 civil penalty. Originally, she was hitting Cardi with charges of assault and battery, intentional infliction of emotional distress, negligence, and false imprisonment. That's a whole legal arsenal aimed at Cardi's pockets and reputation. But here's where the plot thickens. Cardi B's defense team, led by attorney Peter Anderson, started poking holes in Ellis's story from jump. They found inconsistencies between what Ellis said in court and what she wrote in her incident report just 2 days after the alleged situation went down. The biggest red flag, Ellis testified in court about getting scratched on her cheek, but her original incident report mentioned getting scratched on her nose. When they called her out on this, Ellis tried to explain it away, but it just made her look like she couldn't keep her story straight about where she got hurt. These inconsistencies weren't just small details. They went straight to the heart of whether Ellis could be trusted to tell the truth about what really happened that day. If she couldn't remember basic facts like where she allegedly got injured, how could anybody believe the more dramatic stuff she was claiming about racial slurs and intentional assault? The legal battle took forever to get to court too. Ellis didn't file the lawsuit until February 2020, which was a whole 2 years after the incident supposedly happened. Ellis explained that delay by saying she was overwhelmed and didn't know if she wanted to pursue legal action. But that long wait gave Cardi B's legal team plenty of time to build their defense strategy. And boy, did they use that time well. Judge Ian C. Fusselman made several crucial rulings that were major wins for Cardi B. The judge split the trial into 2 parts. First, they had to prove Cardi B was actually liable for what Ellis claimed happened, and only then would they talk about how much money she might have to pay. But the biggest victory for Team Cardi was when the judge blocked Ellis's lawyers from bringing up Cardi's past, including her history as a stripper, any alleged drug use, gang connections, previous legal troubles, or other controversies. The judge said all that stuff was highly prejudicial and had nothing to do with what actually happened in that medical building. When the trial finally kicked off on August 25th, 2025 in Alhambra, California, the media circus was already in full swing. But nobody, and I mean nobody, was ready for the absolute chaos that was about to unfold when Cardi B herself stepped into that witness box. The stage was set for some courtroom drama that would not only determine if Cardi had to pay up, but would also redefine what viral legal content looked like in the social media era. When cross-examination goes left. When Cardi B finally stepped to the witness stand on August 26, 2025, you could feel the tension in that courtroom like static before a storm. Legal heads, media folks, and curious spectators had been waiting for this moment, when one of hip-hop's biggest stars would have to defend herself under oath against some serious allegations that could have cost her everything. But real talk, nobody could have predicted the absolute circus that was about to pop off. Ellis's attorney, Ron Rosen, started off trying to establish some basic facts about who Cardi B really was. But yo, this questioning took a hard left turn real quick. Instead of staying focused on the legal stuff, Rosen started getting all up in Cardi's personal business in ways that had nothing to do with the case. And that's when this whole situation went from serious legal proceedings to straight up internet comedy gold. The moment that broke the whole internet started when Rosen noticed Cardi B had switched up her whole look between court days. One day she had a short black bob, the next day she rolled up with long blonde hair. Instead of focusing on the allegations, this man really asked her about her hair situation like it was evidence or something.
Yesterday you had black hair, short hair. Today it's blonde and long. Which one is your real hair? Or are they both real?
They're wigs.
Okay, sorry, I didn't know that. It's a good week today then.
Rosen asked, like he was conducting some kind of hair investigation. Cardi's response was pure hood comedy, with the most, "Are you serious right now?" energy you ever seen. She hit him with the facts. They're wigs. The whole courtroom started cracking up, and within hours, that clip was getting millions of views across every platform. People were making memes, reaction videos, and TikToks about this lawyer really trying to interrogate Cardi about her wig game during a serious assault trial. But Rosen wasn't done with his random questioning. Maybe he thought he was onto something with the hair thing, because next he decided to focus on Cardi's nails like he was doing a manicure inspection.
How long are those fingernails? Just your best estimate. I want you to take a ruler to it, but if you were to give your estimate, is that Half an inch, 1 inch, 2
I
inch?
think it has to be less than an inch.
Picture this scene, a Grammy-winning artist holding up her hands for a jury to examine like she's at a nail salon showing off her fresh set. The whole thing was so absurd that viewers couldn't help but be entertained, even though this was supposed to be about serious assault allegations, when Rosen kept pushing. About whether her nails were pointy, Cardi's response was straight fire.
Are they pointy?
These are not, to me, are not pointy. They're like circle, oval.
Now, the nail questioning wasn't completely random. It tied into Ellis's claims that Cardi had used long, sharp nails to scratch her face. But the way it was presented made it look like some kind of beauty tutorial instead of legal evidence. Cardi was handling it with such good humor that it made the whole prosecution strategy look weak. The questioning got even more detailed when Rosen started asking about nail maintenance like he was training to be a nail technician.
If I wanted you to change them to 3-inch nails, how long would it take for you to do that right now?
Well, it really depends. Like these are like glued on, so they will be a little bit quicker. Sometimes I do acrylic, which could last me on for 2 weeks.
What made all this questioning so viral wasn't just how weird it was how Cardi B handled it. Instead of getting frustrated or defensive, she was rolling with it like she was on a talk show. Her responses were so natural and entertaining that people forgot this was supposed to be about serious legal allegations. But then Rosen tried to cross a line that the judge had already drawn in the sand. He attempted to ask about gang affiliations, which was exactly the type of character assassination that the court had already ruled was off limits. The judge shut that down real quick, reminding everyone that they were supposed to stick to the facts of the specific incident. When the questioning finally shifted to the actual beef that started this whole case, Cardi B's energy completely changed. The playful responses to questions about wigs and nails were replaced by the serious tone of someone whose reputation and money were on the line.
Do you agree that an incident occurred on February 24th, 28th?
It was a verbal incident. Verbal.
But it was an incident, correct? Oh.
I personally feel like if there's no physical touch, there is no incident. There was a verbal altercation. If you think that that's an incident, a verbal altercation, then it's an incident for you. But we both have different opinions. It's a verbal altercation. She didn't hit me, I didn't hit her. There was no touch. So to me, it wasn't no incident.
This response was crucial to everything Cardi B was trying to prove. By saying no physical contact equals no incident, she was directly challenging the foundation of Ellis's whole lawsuit. Ellis needed to prove that physical assault happened, and Cardi was drawing a clear line in the sand about what she would and wouldn't admit to. When they asked her directly about the most serious allegations, Cardi's denials were straight to the point.
Was there spitting?
Absolutely not.
Did you spit on Miss Alice?
No.
Did you call her the N-word?
No.
But the most compelling part of Cardi's testimony was when she broke down her own version of what really went down that day. Her story painted a completely different picture from what Ellis was claiming, and she told it with the kind of detail that made you feel like you were right there in that hallway.
I could hear her. She was talking on the phone, and she said, "Oh my God, y'all, Cardi B's here." So I kind of speed walk, but I feel her behind me. Then I hear her talking like, "Oh my God, Cardi B is here." So I turned around and she had her phone. She didn't have it here no more. Now she has it here.
According to Cardi's version, Ellis wasn't just innocently recognizing a celebrity. She was actively blowing up Cardi's spot and trying to record her on the low.
And I asked her, "Yo, why are you recording me?" And she clearly looked like the security. She looked like the security guard. She's uniformed down. And I'm like, "Why are you recording me? Are you security?" And she's like, "Oh, my bad."
This testimony flipped the whole script. Instead of Cardi being the aggressor who attacked an innocent security guard, she was painting herself as a pregnant woman trying to protect her privacy from someone who was supposed to be providing security, not violating it. The tension in Cardi's testimony ramped up as she described how the situation escalated.
But then I'm walking and I feel her still following me. So like as I'm walking, speed walking, trying to look for the office, I turn around again and I'm like, "Why are you following me?" She's like, "'Cause I can." It's like, No, you can't.
That "because I can" response from Ellis was crucial to Cardi's defense. It made Ellis sound like she was on some power trip, using her security position to harass someone instead of doing her job properly. Cardi's description of feeling intimidated by Ellis was a game changer for her defense. She painted herself not as some aggressive celebrity throwing her weight around, but as a pregnant woman who felt physically threatened by a much larger security guard who was getting all up in her space and refusing to respect her requests for privacy. The most dramatic moment came when Cardi admitted to the verbal part of the confrontation.
I did call her the B word. I did call her like, get out of my face. I did say, bitch, get the f out of my face. You're in my face. You're screaming in my face. We're like literally screaming at each other.
This admission was both risky and smart. By owning up to the verbal part of the confrontation, Cardi was showing she wasn't trying to lie about everything, but she was also making it clear that this was a mutual verbal beef, not a one-sided attack on an innocent person. The most powerful moment in her testimony came when she described what happened when other people intervened.
That's when the receptionist came out. She started wilding out like, this bitch hit me, and I'm like, I did not hit her. I'm looking at her like, girl, I can't even hit you if I want to. You're bigger than me.
According to Cardi, Ellis was making false accusations right there in the moment, yelling about being hit when no physical contact had happened. Cardi's response, pointing out that Ellis was bigger than her, was a reality check about who would actually be intimidated in that situation. The cross-examination continued with more tense exchanges, but the damage to the serious tone of the proceedings had already been done. The viral clips of Cardi discussing her wigs and nails had already started circulating on social media, turning what should have been a somber legal proceeding into internet entertainment that was working in Cardi's favor. Legal reporter Megan Cuniff, whose clips went viral, pointed out that the prosecution seemed to be trying to make jurors dislike Cardi B by focusing on her celebrity lifestyle. Instead, her authenticity and humor were making her more relatable to regular people who could see through the strategy. The internet's reaction was swift and decisive. Within hours, clips from the cross-examination were being shared millions of times, spawning memes, reaction videos, and commentary that largely supported Cardi B's performance. The general consensus was that while the allegations were serious, the prosecution's approach of attacking her appearance and lifestyle had completely backfired. The real and the aftermath. As those courtroom clips kept circulating and generating unprecedented viral engagement across every platform from TikTok to Twitter, it became clear that something fundamental had shifted in how people were viewing this whole legal situation. What started as serious allegations that could have ended Cardi B's career had transformed into a social media moment that was actually working in her favor, showing her authenticity and street smarts in a way that connected with regular folks. The reaction across the internet was immediate and overwhelming. The clips racked up millions of views within 24 hours, with commentary largely focused on what many saw as the complete failure of Ellis's legal strategy. Instead of staying focused on the substance of the assault allegations, social media users were fixated on the entertainment value of watching Cardi B navigate the most random questions about her personal grooming, like she was doing an impromptu beauty tutorial in the middle of a courtroom. But underneath all the memes and viral clips, the serious legal business was still happening. The trial featured additional testimony that provided crucial context for understanding what really went down on that February day in 2018. The medical evidence became a major battleground, with Dr. Brent Moelican testifying about treating Ellis for facial scars that he claimed looked consistent with fingernail scratches. However, even this medical testimony had elements that seemed to support Cardi B's defense. During cross-examination, it came out that Dr. Moelican's initial assessment suggested the scratches were caused by a right-handed person, but Cardi B is left-handed, which raised serious questions about whether this doctor really knew what he was talking about. Logical testimony was equally problematic for Ellis's case. Dr. Nicole McKenzie testified about evaluating Ellis, but her report described the incident as a screaming match and didn't mention any physical injuries, despite being conducted to assess Ellis's workers' compensation claim. If Ellis was really injured the way she claimed, why wouldn't that show up in a medical evaluation designed to document workplace injuries? Ellis got emotional support from her family testimony, with her mother and grandmother talking about how upset she was after the incident. But even that testimony had to be weighed against all the inconsistencies that kept popping up in Ellis's story throughout the trial. The most damaging blow to Ellis's case came when she had to back down from one of her original claims during the trial. She had initially alleged that Cardi B used her celebrity influence to get her fired from her security job, but during her testimony, she had to admit that her termination was actually because of a HIPAA violation, basically confessing that her own actions in announcing Cardi B's presence had led to her losing her job. The legal implications of all these viral moments went way beyond social media engagement. Legal experts noted that the prosecution's strategy of trying to make Cardi B seem unsympathetic had clearly failed. Instead of making the jury dislike her, her authentic responses to absurd questions had made her appear more trustworthy and relatable to everyday people. The broader context surrounding this trial also played a major role in public perception. This case was happening while Cardi B was dealing with multiple other legal challenges, including a $50 million copyright lawsuit over her song Enough Miami and ongoing divorce drama with Offset. Yet instead of seeming overwhelmed by all these legal battles, her courtroom performance showed someone who was comfortable defending herself and confident in her version of events. The trial timing also coincided with Cardi B preparing to drop her highly anticipated sophomore album, Am I the Drama, scheduled for September 19, 2025. The album's title seemed prophetic given the circumstances, as Cardi B had explained in interviews that it reflected her thinking about whether drama chases me or am I the drama. The viral courtroom moments seemed to answer that question. She wasn't creating drama, she was just being herself while dealing with what many saw as unfair attacks on her character. The media coverage revealed interesting patterns in how different outlets approached the story. Traditional legal publications focused on procedural aspects and evidence, while entertainment media and social platforms were captivated by the viral moments. Outlets like Forbes and Hindustan Times suggested that the plaintiff's strategy might have been deliberately designed to make Cardi B appear unsympathetic, but acknowledged that it had clearly backfired. The case also highlighted broader issues about celebrity privacy and the impossible situations famous people face in everyday life. Cardi B's testimony about trying to keep her pregnancy private while getting medical care resonated with many viewers who recognized the catch-22 that celebrities face, needing normal services but being unable to access them without unwanted attention and potential privacy violations. The incident happened during what should have been a routine and private medical visit, but Ellis's recognition and apparent recording of Cardi B transformed it into a confrontation that would have legal consequences for years. This dynamic raised questions about what service workers should do when they encounter celebrities in professional settings, and whether fans have any right to acknowledgement or interaction when celebrities are just trying to live their lives. As the trial continued past the viral moments, attention turned to how the jury would weigh the competing narratives. Ellis's emotional testimony about trauma and physical injury had to be balanced against the inconsistencies in her story and the lack of solid corroborating evidence. Cardi B's denial of physical contact and her explanation of the encounter as a privacy dispute had to be evaluated alongside her admission that harsh words were exchanged and a confrontation did occur. The pre-trial rulings that excluded references to Cardi B's past proved crucial in keeping the focus on the specific incident, rather than allowing character assassination to influence the proceedings. This judicial decision ensured that the case would be decided on its actual merits rather than on prejudices about Cardi B's background or public persona. The financial stakes remained enormous throughout the proceedings. Ellis was seeking substantial damages for medical expenses, lost earnings, and punitive damages, while Cardi B faced not just financial liability, but potential damage to her reputation and career. The split trial structure meant that if liability was established, a second phase would determine damages, potentially involving discussions of Cardi B's substantial wealth and earning capacity. But perhaps the most significant outcome of this trial wasn't the legal verdict. It was the cultural impact of seeing a major celebrity defend herself with such authenticity and hood wisdom. The viral clips demonstrated that Cardi B could handle hostile questioning with grace and humor, turning what was meant to be an attack on her character into an opportunity to showcase her personality in a positive light. The case also served as a masterclass in how social media can influence public perception of legal proceedings. While traditional media coverage focused on the serious allegations and legal arguments, social media users were creating memes and celebration posts about Cardi B's performance, effectively conducting their own trial in the court of public opinion. This trial had demonstrated the power of keeping it real, the dangers of overreaching in legal strategy, and the incredible influence of social media in shaping narratives around high-profile cases. Whether Ellis's allegations had merit or not, the public had clearly made up its mind about who was more credible and sympathetic. The lasting impact of this viral courtroom drama extends far beyond this specific case. It represents a new paradigm in how celebrity legal battles play out in the digital age, where authentic moments can be more influential than sophisticated legal arguments, and where staying true to yourself, even in the most formal circumstances, can be the most effective defense strategy. For the culture, Cardi B had shown that being authentic, even when lawyers are trying to make you look look bad by asking about your wigs and nails can actually work in your favor. She proved that you don't have to change who you are or where you come from to defend yourself effectively, and that sometimes the realest response is the most powerful one. Thanks for watching. If you found this video informative, be sure to check out other similar and amazing videos on the screen. I'll see you in the next video.